Hey guys, it's Will with Vinyl Appreciation Society. You are watching 7 super underrated Idlewild songs. Idlewild is one of my all-time favorite bands. I know I said that about a lot of the bands that we do on this series, but I would say they're top 5 for me of all time. Like I really, really love this band. And Roddy Wimble, who is the vocalist and lyricist, is one of my favorite vocalists and absolutely one of my favorite, if not my single favorite lyricist of all time. And so if you're unfamiliar with Idlewild, they are a band from Scotland and they play kind of like melodic, punky indie rock, but their sound has evolved a lot. So when they started, they were kind of like this noisy indie punk band who was clearly taking from classic punk music, but also like Fugazi, Sonic Youth, like stuff like that. And as they moved forward, they became more melodic, but retained that heaviness to the point where now they have this kind of like pretty big, expansive, almost like REM esque melodic indie rock sound that sometimes has some of the heavy stuff too, but is more interested in like interesting textures, melodicism, and stuff like that. It's very hard to put together a list of 7 super underrated Idlewild songs for multiple reasons. One is that inevitably, I think some subset of Idlewild fans are gonna get upset because there are people who really, really love early Idlewild up until their third album, which is called The Remote Part, and then after that don't like them at all and think they like, I don't know, they sold out or they fell off or their songwriting is crap or like they evolved in the wrong direction, whatever. As if it's up to a fan what direction an artist ought to evolve into, right? I love all Idlewild. And I truly mean that. Like even like there's a record called Make Another World that a lot of Idlewild fans, even who like a lot of their stuff, don't like. I love that album. And that's one of my favorite Idlewild records, actually. And even Roddy Wimble, actually, the singer and vocalist of Idlewild, doesn't really like that album that much. But I just love this band, and so I I just went in trying to find Idlewild songs that I really like. I think they're all B sides. That I just think are really strong tracks that ought to be more listened to, that ought to have better reputations. And I didn't really think about the era that they're from. I didn't really go into the politics of that, and I didn't try to make an even kind of like, oh, I'm gonna take from here, I'm gonna take from there. I just did it without thinking too much about it because I thought if I think too much about it, it'll just become a hot mess. So number 7 on my list of super underrated Idlewild songs is "Poor Thing." This was recorded in 2002, which I think would make it a B side for the remote part. And this is a really interesting song. It has this kind of quieter verse, but that has because it has this kind of heavy ambiance, even though it's not heavy. And then the chorus of this song is just fantastic, and that's the main reason it's on this list. Because there were other songs I almost put on instead of this song, but some of them I saved for another episode of this show. Actually, full disclosure. But some of them I was like, well, I don't know. The chorus of "Poor Thing" is just so good. This song has actually been unfavorably compared to like Coldplay and bands like that by fans of like heavier, older Idlewild who are like, yeah, that song's not good. I don't like it. It's crap. It's radio rock. But I think it's a really strong song, and without being self conscious about what it sounds like and what it doesn't sound like, I put it on my list. Number 6, a super underrated Idlewild songs. We have "Hidden Ways." This is a B side from "Make Another World." So I think it's the B side to "No Emotion," which was the first track that was released as a single from "Make Another World." And I actually bought the Scottish 7-inch and CD single release of this before the album came out. I bought it from, I think, Idlewild directly from their web store. And so it came from the UK too. I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and it was like getting this great treasure in the mail. Like, oh, I don't know if this album will ever even be officially released in the US because Idlewild never really hit in the US. Like their first couple records were big with like indie rock fans, but they never really blew up over here. And they do have like a solid underground fan base. Like they tour here occasionally, very occasionally at this point in their career. But they didn't hit here like they hit in other places, and so it was really exciting to get this, this single in the mail. So this is just a really good melodic Idlewild rock song that has kind of that Teenage Fan Club REM influence in it. So number 5 on my list of super underrated Idlewild songs. This is a cover actually, and also B-side. It's called "Winter Is Blue." It is a B-side of El Capitan. It is originally by Vashti Bunyan. I had to write this down. Who is a British singer-songwriter, I think in like the 70s or 60s. And this, honestly, like this track would not sound out of place on "My Secret Is My Silence," which is the first solo record from Roddy Wimble, who, like I said, is the singer and the vocalist of Idlewild. And that record is like a full-on, really beautiful pastoral folk record that is very Scottish sounding. And this is like a very folky song. It has his vocals. I think there's like background female vocals, sparse acoustic guitar, has a really great feel to it, like an ambiance to it. It's just a really kind of haunting, beautiful song. I'm just kind of I moved something around on my list. I just did it with like little arrows. I don't know if you can see this from where you are, but it's kind of like, oh god. So number 4 on my list of super underrated Idlewild songs is "Hold On to Your Breath." This is a B-side from "Love Steals Us from Loneliness," which is a single from "Warnings and Promises," which is their 4th record. And this song is really cool. It has kind of like a disco beat, and it has that kind of I'm gonna say it again, REM, Teenage Fan Club, kind of like melodic indie rock, arpeggiated guitars, like solid bass line feel to it. And it's just a really good song. And Make Another World is an interesting album because there are a couple B-sides from that album that are really good. And this is one of them that I actually like more than stuff that's on that album. And I think if they had taken a couple songs off and put a couple songs on, because that album kind of errs toward a folkier sound, and if you would put some of the more rock oriented B sides on it, it could have been a more direct, obvious follow up to the remote part and a more commercially viable record. But what I think is really interesting about it is that they didn't do that. And so, and I think that's what really makes that record what it is. And I love that record, and I wouldn't want it a different way. I just think it's really interesting to listen to those B sides and hear that. So, number 3, I'm so discombobulated here, on my list of super underrated Idlewild songs is "There's Glory in Your Story." This is a 100 Broken Windows B side, and which is their 2nd record. This and in the liner notes of I think it's the 10th anniversary reissue of that album, Roddy Woomble writes about how they were just basically trying to sound like Teenage Fan Club on that song, like straight up. It's just a really great song. It's so catchy and melodic and has that sound of that era that I think people love so much. And yeah, every time I hear it, I just get a smile on my face. It's like this really sunny, melodic, awesome track. So number 2 on my list of super underrated Idlewild songs, this is a B-side from American English, which was a single from the remote part. I think this was recorded in 2002, "The Nothing I Know." I was going through Idlewild B-sides, compiling this list. On Spotify, there's a B-side compilation. There's a ton of stuff on YouTube. And this song came on, and I was like, well, that's not a B-side. Wait, what? I have so many associations with this song. I love this song so much. I've put this song on mixes for people. I honestly forgot that it was a B-side. And I thought it was on, I guess I thought it was on the remote part or something. Even though I know it's not on that record, there was something really hit me that I was like, no, that song's not a B-side. It's just so good. And I'm really surprised that it's not on an album because it is as good as anything that is on the albums from that era. That track is "The Nothing I Know." Number 1 on my list of super underrated Idlewild songs, "A Distant History," which is also, I believe, the name of their B-sides compilation, which was released in 2007, 2008, I think. This was a "You Held the World in Your Arms" B-side, which is a single from the remote part. And this song is just incredible. Like, this is a top 10 or 15 Idlewild song for me. And it has this kind of like groovy tom fill and like bass-based rhythm section that's like boom 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 boom. I'm doing a really bad job of presenting the song to you, but it has a really unique feel that's built on these kind of like tom-based heavy drum rhythms, this heavy anchoring bass line, this melodic guitar line on top of that, and then this great epic chorus, and then a huge, really awesome crescendo at the end of the song. It's a very kind of somber, melancholy, poetic song. If you know anything about Roddy Woomble, you'll know that he's also a poet, and he often writes his lyrics as poems. And then when he is presented with music by the band, or when he writes songs himself, he goes through his poems and picks things that he will fit and kind of manipulates them into lyrics. And so that poetic soul and that poetic nature is very present in his lyrics. And the lyrics for this song are great, and it's just a really, really classic, strong song that to me plays to all the strengths of Idlewild, and it's melodic. It has really strong ambiance and feel. It's a really emotional, poetic song, and it also has like heaviness and like a rock quality to it that's kind of essential to their sound. So my name is Will. This has been 7 super underrated Idlewild songs. This has been a really fun video for me to make because I love this band so much. I thank you for watching. If you have Idlewild songs that you think are underrated, that you really like, you can put them in the comments below. If there are other bands that you would like to suggest that we do for this series, please also let us know. We'd be happy to try to do that for you. This is Vinyl Appreciation Society. My name I almost said has been Will. I always say that my name has been Will. My name is still Will, and it will be next time. Anyway, the point being, we will see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much.